Are we? I think we're live. I think we're live. I think we are live. Yeah, I think we're live. Right, everyone. So listen, guys, I'm going to go through this now, but what I also want to do a quick update on is a few things that I'm seeing at the moment that is evidence that the United Kingdom is in absolute crisis. Everything from Farage's speech, it's not Farage's speech today, although it should have been Farage's speech. So we've got everything in the United Kingdom at the moment, from Keir Starmer's speech today, or was it yesterday, where he literally just Keir Starmer did a speech about Nigel Farage. Now, as a political leader with over 400 seats, he's really worried about another leader that's got 5 seats. It's unbelievable. So we are going to be talking about that today, guys. And I believe that right now you've got a media, an actual media attack on Keir Starmer. Now, you've got to ask yourselves why and how does this happen. So let me just, hang on, guys. Give me a second here. So, guys, listen, if anybody's, Debbie Doobs is saying, hi, Sean, I don't normally catch you at night. Yeah, Debbie, I've not been on at night that often. I've been really struggling to get on at night, but don't worry, I'm here now. Right, let me just look at the Keir Starmer's speech, and we will play it in a second. Hang on. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the media now have started to absolutely attack Keir Starmer. Now, it's hang on. Now, sorry. Now, it does seem to me that the media altogether have just started to attack Keir Starmer. Now, why do you think that is, guys? Why do you think they've all just done that all of a sudden right now? Right now, why do you think the media are all in lockstep attacking Keir Starmer? I believe that the media are attacking Keir Starmer right now because they've been told to attack him, guys. They've been told to attack him. Now, why have they been told to attack him? Well, I believe this is all direction to the summer of carnage. It's to destabilize the government. It's so people distrust the government. It's so people have, hang on. Right, guys, everybody in the comments, I will come on and get as many comments as I can in a minute, but let me just get through this little, Sakib, all right, okay, Sakib. Sean, I have heard about Israel going to attack Iran nuclear facilities within 3 days. Sakib, I will come on to that in a second because I do think it's all connected. But right, ladies and gentlemen, look, let me click some buttons actually. We are double streaming today again. We're double streaming on TikTok, and we are streaming on YouTube as well. Let me just click some buttons. That one. Yes, that one. Right, good. We are good, ladies and gentlemen. Right, let me just play you this little. Excerpt here, guys. So this is Keir Starmer being asked questions by, I believe it's the BBC. Now, just listen in for a second, guys. Just listen in for a second, okay? This is Keir Starmer answering questions. I think it's by the BBC.
Do you think one of the problems is that Nigel Farage can...
Sorry, guys, that's Sky News. Sky News. Sorry, my mistake. It's Keir Starmer answering a question from Sky News. Just listen to this, guys.
Do you think one of the problems is that Nigel Farage can approximate talking like a human being, where you just resort to talking points and dodging questions?
The speed of the decline in your popularity is historically unprecedented. Isn't this speech today an admission that you have failed and Nigel Farage understands voters better than you?
And Nigel Farage has 5 MPs, you've got 403. Are you panicking as Reform is so far ahead in the polls, it seems? This is being rent-free in your brain. You went to a state school, your dad worked in a factory, your mum worked in the NHS. So why is a public school-educated former city trader got more in common with the Red Wall than you have?
Before UK say you're running scared of them, that you're sounding increasingly like them with some of the policies and announcements you've made recently. This is a speech that was very defensive, wasn't it? Are you not worried people will ask why you're holding a press conference about Nigel Farage 4 years out from a general election instead of focusing on your plans for the country?
You went into the election promising to freeze national insurance and keep the two-child benefit cap. You since raised national insurance on businesses, and now you're considering axing the cap. Isn't attacking Nigel Farage's economic credibility a bit rich?
So, guys, look, if you've not seen the interview, that was just like the highlights of the press actively attacking Keir Starmer. Now, you've got to ask yourself, why are they attacking Keir Starmer all of a sudden? Why now? It's to destabilise this government, guys, because if we've lost faith and lost trust in the government, then the summer of carnage, summer protests, summer riots, summer movements, a potential revolution on the streets in the United Kingdom does become more likely. And that is the reality, guys, all right? We have been heavily subverted in this country. And right now we're seeing the United Kingdom go from the destabilization phase into the crisis phase. Guys, look, I was talking about it a long time ago. I do think we're going to head into the crisis phase this summer, right? So Saqib is asking, what do I think about Israel going to, sorry, I'll just read you the question rather than trying to paraphrase it. Sean, have you heard about Israel going to attack Iran nuclear facilities within 3 days? Well, first of all, I would speculate, and this is from my understanding of how these things work. Any infrastructure of any significant military importance in Iran will have been dug deep underground. Now, not only will that have been dug deep underground, but it will be dug deep underground underneath mountains. And the entrance to this location may be in location X, but the actual facility could be 10, 20, 30 miles away through underground tunnels. So regardless whether the Israelis are going to strike or not, I think I don't think it's going to be successful for whatever they strike. The only way to stop Iran's nuclear facilities and to stop Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon is to have boots on the ground. The only way to get boots on the ground in Iran is by an amphibious assault. The only place you can have an amphibious assault is the south coast. And this all ties in with, remember the drones that we saw like the back end of last year, like December, around New Jersey? You know, one of the things I said very early on, and I did videos on you guys, I said this was the US military practicing their uplink and downlink capability with a Starlink satellite system so they can control their drones by the satellites. That would, remember when people were saying, you know, I've got, like, you had Americans saying, I have 25 years experience and I've never seen anything like this. They're operating on an unknown frequency. Well, just like to be clear, all frequencies are known. It's quite simple. It's just the frequency that they couldn't find because they weren't using a frequency. They were using the satellites, the Starlink constellations, to operate their drones. I also said that they were using the Northrop Grumman Manta Ray, or is it Sea Manta? I think it's Manta Ray, which is a subsurface drone that can launch these smaller unmanned aerial vehicles from. Now, do I think they're going to attack within 3 days? I think it's very unlikely. Could they? Absolutely. Now, this all comes back to something that was passed into US law in 2023, where basically the US military will not accept Iran gaining a nuclear weapon, and they'll take all action necessary to stop that. So, yeah, that's what I think about that. Tyler Evans is saying, did you hear all the Russian nuclear weapons and information got leaked online? Over 2 million documents. No, I didn't. I've been quite busy the last, like two days. Certainly today I've been absolutely rushed off. If I need to send a text. I've been absolutely rushed off my feet. Give me a second, guys. I just need to send a text quickly. Sorry, guys. What I'll say about any nuclear documents and any documents that are released in today's world with, you know, with artificial intelligence, with spycraft, with all sorts of these like false flag events, I would say nobody knows what is true anymore, and there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation. So, you know, whether this is true or not, I don't know. I'd have to have more information about it. Emma Green is saying hi. Emma Jane Taylor is saying hi, guys. Hi back to you. Raven, have you seen? Yes, I have. So let me click this here. Yeah. So who said that? User and a load of numbers. Sean, have you seen Andrew Bridgen talking about the Ukrainian? I'm not sure if I can repeat that. In the info to the next Ukrainian president, and he was, yes, I have absolutely seen that. What I will do is, in a moment, I will play that video for you guys. But Andrew Bridgen, guys, he comes out with some fantastic information. The information that he puts out is, you know, it's brilliant. I will play the interview in a minute, but what he's talking about is, he's talking about, you know, the three Ukrainian boys that were arrested, the 3 Ukrainian male models that were arrested in response to Keir Starmer's properties being attacked. Well, guys, look, let's just conceptualize that for a moment. Let's just talk about that. How come they got rushed through really quickly, the legal system, if we're struggling? How, guys, does it not seem suspicious to anyone that this happened? That, look, and I'm not saying there's anything in it, I'm just saying it, to me anyway, it sounds suspicious that the Prime Minister of Britain, who already has rumours about his sexuality. And again, look, guys, I personally couldn't care less about his sexuality. I care about, is he a good prime minister? Is he doing the right thing? Or is he bought by global powers and they're telling him what to do? That's what I'm more concerned about. So, but you know what? Let me just play the interview, guys. Let me just play the interview. Rather than me tell you what the interview, is, I'll play the interview. Where is it? Where is it? Where are you in the thing? Here we are, guys. Here we are. Is that it? No. Right. So I've got the full interview here, but here we are. Right. Guys, I'm going to play you now a short interview, and it's with regards to Keir Starmer and the 3 boys that were arrested. Listen, guys, if you guys are watching on YouTube, can you let me know if you can hear this, please? If you guys are watching on YouTube, can you let me know if you can hear this? Just put a thumbs up in the chat, please, if the volume's okay.
The situation with Starmer has been very interesting. It's not just what the media are saying, what they're not saying. So 3 Ukrainian male models have been arrested for arson attacks on Keir Starmer's property. And they all had accounts on Grindr, interestingly enough, apparently, which have all been deleted. And there are obviously some questions about Keir Starmer's private life and his relationship with Lord Ali, who's openly homosexual. But what the media aren't hearing, and I saw a report on this, it was actually from Vasily Poroshkov, the whistleblower to me about the child trafficking from Ukraine, the former Ukrainian Secret Service agent. Yes. And he claims that the 3 Ukrainian rent boys were gathering information from senior politicians in the UK, and they were passing them to the Ukrainian dissident in Madrid, who was mysteriously assassinated 4 days after their arrest.
So just stopping the video there, guys. Did you hear what he said? So there was a Ukrainian dissident who was transcended into a beam of light 4 days after these gentlemen were arrested for Keir Starmer in relation to Keir. I'll just replay it, guys, all right? Does that not sound suspicious to anyone? Let me just replay that.
From senior politicians in the UK, and they were passing them to the Ukrainian dissident in Madrid, who was mysteriously assassinated 4 days after their arrest.
Oh, this is.
And he would have seen himself as a potential challenger at the next presidential elections in Ukraine. And what I'm hearing is that they're clearing the decks, and that the preferred candidate, when Zelensky has, I think, shot his bolt, but the preferred candidate for the globalists is the gentleman who's now serving, is former head of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, and he's now serving as the Ukrainian ambassador to the UK, and that he'll be the next president, and the war will continue.
So there we have it, guys. That was just from Andrew Bridgen. Now, let me just I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about the relationship and the direct link from Keir Starmer. Guys, look, and I'm not making this up. This is all widely available. What I'm about to tell you now, guys, you know, like everything's available and all the information is out there. You don't, you know, and literally, I'm just going to go from Wikipedia pages, right, guys? In fact, you know what? I'm going to do it in real time. There's a direct link, basically, ladies and gentlemen, from Keir Starmer to Epstein. There's a link, guys. There is a link between, there's a chain of people that directly link Keir Starmer into, you know, Keir Starmer to Epstein, however you pronounce it. So, I know I've said this a few times, guys. I've done a few videos on this, but just remember, okay? Remember, all right? In 1986, Keir Starmer, you know what? Let me Google this, guys. I'll get you the articles up. So I'm just Googling Keir Starmer. Right, guys, so I've literally just Googled Keir Starmer Workers Camp CZ. You guys can do that, right? Okay, you guys can do that. So you get an article, all right, come up from the Mail Online. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put all these links in the description. And the headline reads, "How a young Keir Starmer ended up in a communist spy files after joining a Czechoslovakian work camp during the Cold War." Keir Starmer appears in communist spy files after joining a Czechoslovakian work camp at the height of the Cold War. Then, the 23-year-old was one of 17 students from around the globe in 1986 scheme behind the Iron Curtain. There's some words I can't repeat, but basically, guys, what that means is and there's a picture of him there at 23, and I'm not going to lie, guys, he doesn't look the most dashing. This is widely available, guys, all right? So just remember that for a second, guys, all right? Keir Starmer was in Czechoslovakia in 1986, and he was identified by the security services, basically the KGB. He was identified as a person of interest who could be used for exploitation in further years. And this is how subversion works, guys, right? This is how subversion works. So just remember that, guys. Just remember that. Keep that in the back of your mind. Hang on. Yeah, so keep that in the back of your mind, guys. Czechoslovakia. Now, let's talk about Lord Ali for a moment. We all know, and it's open knowledge, that Lord Ali is one of the Labour Party's biggest donors, if not the biggest donor. Now, Lord Ali, let's just talk about him for a second. Lord Ali was do you know what? Rather than give you guys fake news and get the video taken down, I will go onto Wikipedia now and I will just read Lord Ali's Wikipedia page. Lord Waheed Ali, born November 1964, is a British media entrepreneur, politician. Is he a politician? He has held executive positions in several television production companies, including, and then it lists them all. Ali served as chief executive for Silvergate Media, chairman, blah, blah, blah. Right, early life, okay? So, business career. Ali started working as a junior researcher for a finance magazine, crediting his first success to Salim Gehar. I believe guys, look, guys, this gets deep, all right? Eventually, after a few years of preparing monthly reports for potential investors, he was headhunted by Save and Prosper, part of Robert Fleming and Co. He eventually returned to his original employer and worked his way up the media business within Robert Maxwell's stable of publications. So there we have it, guys. Lord Ali started his career working for Robert Maxwell. Oh, but Sean, who is Robert Maxwell? Who is Robert Maxwell? Well, Robert Maxwell is, I'm just on his Wikipedia page here, guys. So, Robert Maxwell joined the Czechoslovakia. Where is it, guys? So basically, guys, right, Robert Maxwell was a massive spy. His Wikipedia tells you all this information, but I'm just going to give it you quickly, all right? Robert Maxwell was a massive spy. His daughter, Jazane Maxwell, was the woman who is now serving jail time for procuring small people for Epstein. When Maxwell passed, people, there were all the heads of Mossad there, heads of the KGB, and people were saying that I think it was I think it was the president, or is it the president of Israel or the prime minister of Israel, said, this man has done more for Israel than you will ever know. He's also been linked to the KGB. He's been linked heavily. They're saying he's a double agent, a triple agent. MI6 have got warnings about him. He's a very connected guy, okay? So, yeah, and Robert Maxwell had the Sun newspaper. So, Lord Ali started his life working for Robert Maxwell, all right? There's nothing there. Then Lord Ali, so now Lord Ali, he works for Robert Maxwell. This is Lord Ali now. So Lord Ali then decides, do you know what? I'm going to use all the knowledge I've had, all the knowledge I've gained over. And again, guys, look, this is literally from the Wikipedia page. I'm not saying anything here that is not in the Wikipedia page, okay? So I'll just read you off the Wikipedia page, guys. I've got to be very careful about what I say on these videos. So after working for Robert Maxwell, Lord Ali just decided then, he thought, you know what? I'm going to have another career. And I'll read it. He then went to the city for his second career in investment banking, through which he became wealthy. In the mid-'80s, he met Charlie Parsons, who was to become his business partner as well as his life partner. So, guys, look, and this may be the case, and it may be totally above board, that Lord Ali just decided one day, he thought, you know what, I'm going to use all the skills I've learned working for Robert Maxwell in a media business. I'm going to use all those media skills, and I'm going to go and work in the city of London as in investment banking. Like, guys, look, forgive me if I'm being naive here, but what transferable skills are there that transfer your skills from media to investment banking? I don't know. What I do know is when you're talking about these big global entities, they want to give someone, if they want to give someone money, like, for example, if they want to give an American billionaire a load of money, they just tell him a load of companies to make. I don't know, maybe like Tesla, SpaceX, the drone companies, maybe all that. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But then that person has a ton of money. And when the people have put him in that place, they say, right, I want you to donate this much money there. And that's how you can fund things, because Lord Ali can do exactly what he wants with his own money. If he wants to donate $1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million to the Labour Party, then absolutely he can. And who can stop him? Literally, who can stop anyone from donating money? They can't. And that's the way this game works, guys, all right? So you've got the link there from Keir Starmer running all the way back. Hang on, guys. I've got some questions on... So John Anderson is saying, so sleeper cell working undercover in the UK. Yeah, and we're talking here about they were not using typical police of UK forces equipment normally used. Oh, what are we talking? Oh, hang on. All right, so John Anderson over on YouTube is saying, what do we think about the snipers that were on the roof in the Liverpool incident the other day? He's saying mainstream media not talking about the sniper on the Liverpool roof. They were not using typical police of not using typical police of UK forces equipment. So sleeper cells working undercover in the UK. This whole thing's been strange, guys. This whole ramming in Liverpool, it doesn't make any sense. As I understand it, the man has now been named as. The man's now been named as, this was from 22 minutes ago, guys, all right? So this guy's been named as Paul Doyle. Now, I'm looking at a picture of this guy, Paul Doyle, and again, I'll stand with what I say. He does not look 50 at all. He looks really good for 50, like ridiculous. Like, I genuinely can't believe he's 53. But I don't know why did he do it? Like, literally, guys, why did this guy do it? It makes absolutely no sense to me, guys. It makes no sense to me. Look, I'm not gonna go down the road and start saying like things like, oh, but MK Ultra can turn you into, I'm gonna go with the Occam's razor and think, right, okay, what's the most likely scenario? He must have been spooked. He may have taken something. I genuinely don't know, guys. The person they've shown pictures of just doesn't, and I'll stand by that, guys. He doesn't look 53. It all seems suspicious to me. But again, I want to wait till more information's come out before I talk about this. I do know, how do I put this? I do know that deep state things like this do happen. I know they happen in other countries, so I've got no doubt they could happen in the United Kingdom. I don't know. I'm just literally speculating here, guys. So it just seems really, really strange to me. Let me jump up and get some of the comments, guys. Listen, I do apologise if I'm missing anyone's comments. I really do apologise. Sharon Owen, if Emma Green is saying none of it makes sense, no, it doesn't. EU are bringing out a law that you can't talk about migration on social media. Really? Is that wow? Wouldn't that be fantastic? A law where we can't talk about. Right, I can't see anything. Oh, hang on. No, I can't see anything. I can't see anything on the mainstream. Sharon, if you can tell me where you're getting that article from, I'll try and read it out to everyone. I can't. I've just literally done a quick search for it. I can't see where that is. But look, guys, when we're talking about the way we're heading especially in the United Kingdom and all over Europe right now, it does seem that I think everybody's giving. Look, guys, I'm asking you a question now. This is a straight question to you guys. I feel like migration there's nothing we can do about the people coming to the United Kingdom now. I don't think there's anything we can do. We've been voting for less migration in the United Kingdom since 2016. Literally, we voted for Brexit because we wanted to stop net migration. We voted for subsequent prime ministers who all said they were going to get strong on migration, and it's just not happened. It has just not happened. So, like, I personally have lost any faith that anybody's going to stop this, guys. Anybody. I do think it will stop at some point, but when it stops, it will only stop when whoever's controlling it says that we can stop. It just doesn't make any notice, guys. Notice. It makes no sense to me. Emma Jane Taylor, did you notice someone took the number plates off the car? Someone in white gloves and hoodie. Yeah, I did see the number plate being taken off the car. I don't think there's anything. I wouldn't see anything deeper into that. I think somebody was just angry. That number plate's already been seen. That number plate's already been on a ton of cars, a ton of videos. A ton of people have seen it. It's all over CCTV. I don't think pulling the number plate off them would have. I don't think there's anything in that. I genuinely just think that's somebody pulling it off. Yeah, rear number plates. Wendy, you're allowed, I don't know, to do what they want your kids inside school prisons. We are all sick humans. I don't know what that means. Wendy, you've put an emoji there and I can't, it's come up on my screen, that emoji. I can't, Wendy, you've put an emoji on the on your little script there, and I can't see what it is on my thing. So I don't know. I don't know what that is. Sharon Owen is saying, wasn't the guy who did? No, right. So Sharon Owen is saying, right, yeah. So Sharon Owen is saying, wasn't the guy who set fire to the Tesla outside? Is that what we're talking about? Outside Trump Tower, I think is. So the guy who set fire to the Tesla outside Trump Tower was he was US Special Forces, and then there was a lot of strange stuff come out on it. I thought it was really suspicious what happened. That, you know, like, who knows what all this stuff is, but it did seem suspicious to me that a Tesla outside Trump Tower, that was a definite message, guys. It was a definite message. Right, I'm just jumping down in the chat, guys, so I do apologize if I'm missing anyone. I've got the chat open tonight, so there is a lot of messages, so I do apologize. Lady is saying, new war in Venezuela, US warning Americans to leave today. Do you know anything about it? No, I don't. I've not been in that. I'll pin that, guys. No, I've not been back long. I don't know what's happening in Venezuela, but do you know what? I will give a good Google search. I do know the Venezuelans have a lot of oil. Yeah, I've spelt it wrong. Don't you love it when Google corrects you? Isn't he a bit smug? Did you mean Venezuela? Yeah, I did mean Venezuela. Thank you, Google. Right, so from 1 day ago, U.S. State Department issues a do not travel warning to Venezuela. The U.S. State Department reissues severe travel advisory for Venezuela. So I don't think it's a get out of Venezuela. I think it's do not travel to Venezuela, which I guess is the same thing. Get out if you're there. Again, with these travel advisories, I do see them as a little bit of a precaution. For example, you know what? I'm contradicting myself here. There's a travel restriction for Ukraine. I travel to Ukraine quite a bit, and you know, I was going to say there's no trouble there, but there clearly is a lot of trouble there. So yeah, I'm literally just hearing that on the first time, guys. Let me get these comments. We all know what's happening inside the school grooming prisons, and you all didn't care. Wendy, I don't know what we mean here. Wendy's saying we all know what's happening inside the schools. I think I'm just going to say schools here, Wendy, because there's certain words you're using there, and I don't want to repeat them. Wendy, can you elaborate more on what you mean here, please? If we're talking about like the school system, what do we mean? What do you mean by the school system? We have a failed. Oh, right, okay. Right, okay. Oh, Wendy's getting okay. Hang on a minute. Wendy's getting deep here. Hang on. Let me just pin this again from Wendy. So Wendy's saying we have failed as a species. Even animals protect their young. Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Like, there is a massive thing, isn't there? Where do I go with this, guys, without being too fringe? Where do I go with this without being too fringe? You've got the rumors, haven't you? You've got the rumors of things that have been happening with certain, like Jimmy, you know, your Savills and your Rolf Harrises, and who else have you got? You know, Gary Glitter. you know, all these things. And again, if you look what's happening in the Diddy parties, if you look at like the stuff where, you know, the pizza stuff, like if you look into all of that stuff, you start to go down a huge rabbit hole, and you always get stuff. And look, guys, I've never witnessed it. I don't know what to make of it, but the more you look into this stuff, the more it kind of makes sense. Now, if you go back, that practice, that if you think about that practice and doing things with doing certain what Wendy's insinuating here, guys, you know, it always comes back to children. It always comes back to giving up something that is innocent. And then you follow this back. You follow it, first of all, you follow this back to Haitian voodoo. People are still saying that these practices still openly happen in Haitian voodoo. You follow that further back. And as far as recorded history goes, you see these things happening with humans. Now, they say they use a code word. They use the code virgin, like they use this code virgin. Oh, we had 100 virgins on the altar for the gods. And you're thinking, hang on a minute, what is virgin actually code for? Virgin is just synonymous with a child. So when we talk about a virgin something, that's a child something. So then if you look back through all these Incan, Sumerian, literally, guys, the Old Testament, books removed from the Bible, go back as far as you want, guys. Wherever you've got recorded history, you've got these practices. And it's just absolutely, it's like, why are they doing it? They must be getting something from that. You know what I'm talking about? So, like, it's just a dark rabbit hole, guys, to go down. It's a real dark place to go down. Anyway, let me jump down and get these comments, guys. Mill is saying, what do you think of Paul? Yeah, so Mill, we spoke about that earlier. So Mill is just saying again, what do we think about Paul Doyle being charged with, oh, hang on. Oh, right, okay. So Mill is saying, what do we think about Paul Doyle being charged with dangerous driving and GBH? I think because nobody transcended to a beam of light, they can't charge him with the thing that begins with M. I don't know. I think that's just how they've packaged it. I don't know what these charges are. I'm very confused about the whole thing. But this is from an update from 25 minutes ago, guys. Okay. So the Liverpool Rammer, shall we say, he's been named as Paul Doyle. And again, I'll stand by what I said, guys. He does not look 53, but you know, that's the picture they're putting. They're saying that's him. So I'll just go with it for now. Paul Doyle has been charged with dangerous driving and GBH after 79 fans injured. Just getting the. Right, Wendy, I can see you're emotional, Wendy. Yeah, I agree with you. I think people do care. But Wendy, I think people, so Wendy's saying you all knew about the schools, but you just didn't care. I think people did care. And I think those people who knew about it tried to do something, but like, you know, I just don't think that everybody knew. I don't think that people know. I don't think everybody knew. Off grid is off grid is here. Right, I've got a question for off grid. I almost muted him then. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Right, so off grid has had a bet with me. Off grid has had a bet with me. Hang on. Right, so off grid has had a bet with me that there will not be the Summer of Car. In fact, no, Off-Grid had a bet with me that that there'll be no skirmishes. You know, there'll be no. Right. Okay. Right. Wendy, I'll just let Wendy. I can see you're really emotional. I'm just going to leave you in the chat for now. But you're just repeating yourself. We're all agreeing with you. Everybody's agreeing with you. What you're saying, Wendy, is everybody's like. I can see you're emotional, Wendy. I may mute you for a bit just for the sake of the other people, but I don't want to. So, Wendy, please try and articulate yourself a little bit better with respect. Yeah, me and Off Grid had a little bet, and we said a long time ago, I said, right, on the 4th of July in Cardiff, you're going to see the first skirmishes break out on the streets of Cardiff, and that's going to lead towards the Summer of Carnage. Now, with recent events happening, unfolding, what's happening with the government at the moment, the media now turning against Keir Starmer, and it does seem to me like the media in lockstep have turned against Keir Starmer. Tommy Robinson being released from jail, Lucy Conley still in jail, the two gentlemen who allegedly had fisticuffs in Manchester Airport yet to be charged, Ricky Jones yet to be charged. My question is this: does anybody think that the Summer of Carnage is not coming? And I've got a direct question now for Off Grid. Do you think that it's coming, or are you still thinking it's not coming? That was the question. Right, let me come down and get these questions. Paras never pay up cash; they just beat you up. Do you know what? It's funny. A friend of mine owes me 20 quid still, and I still get him about that. Sean, do you think that what Netanyahu has said about Trump's peace deal? Look, so right now, I think anything between Trump and this is my opinion, guys. This is my own feelings. I think any negativity between Trump and Netanyahu is fake. I think any negativity between Trump and Netanyahu is fake. That's just what I think. You guys tell me what you guys think. I think it's all planned, it's all pomp, it's all circus, it's all pageantry. Like, let's just set our minds back, guys, all right? Remember when Donald Trump was getting elected and he said, I'm going to be the peaceful president, I'm going to be the peacemaker, everybody's going to have a deal and everybody's going to be peaceful and we're going to go to Mars and we're going to have all sorts of cool stuff. It's going to be fantastic. America's going to be back and we're going to do all this cool stuff. Like, back in October last year, so October 24. Oh, actually, Trump's on here. Hang on. Back in October 24, what was the situation like in Gaza? And what is it like now? It's worse now than it was back then. Trust me, guys, it is. The situation in Ukraine back in October 24, what was the situation like then and what's it like now? In both conflicts, they're an order of magnitude worse now. They're an order of magnitude worse. So, any of these like pomp and pageantry, or he says this, but he says that, I feel anything between Trump and Netanyahu, guys, any, what's the word I'm looking for? Any negativity between Trump and Netanyahu, I do think it's fake. Just an interesting comment here, guys, for Woken Flower. It's all to do with energy. YouTube is pushing Tommy videos on me just like they did last year during the riots. So who controls YouTube? Who controls these algorithms, guys? Remember, these algorithms online, they can push certain videos to you. And we know that this happened in Ukraine. And this is why, again, this is why people say that the Ukrainian revolution was a US-sponsored coup. It wasn't. It wasn't a US-sponsored coup. Facebook, when the revolution when the Maidan revolution started, Facebook said, right, if you download our app, you can use free messaging. So you got to do free calls. I think it was free video calls and free messaging. Now that is a massive promotion. Do you see where I'm going with this, guys? That is a massive promotion. So all the Ukrainians who were previously used the social media network VKNet, which is literally like a Russian Facebook. You don't have a look. It's called VKNet. So all the Ukrainians then switched over to Facebook. Now, once they switched over to Facebook, which is a US app, whoever was controlling the algorithm on Facebook could control what people were seeing. So if you can control what people are looking at, you can control their emotions, you can work people up, you can bring people down. That's the power of social media, guys. That's the power of social media. And as Wokenflower was saying here on over on YouTube, that Tommy Robinson videos are now being pushed. You know, nobody draws a crowd like Tommy. Nobody is going to bring the numbers to London, bring the numbers to local towns, local cities like Tommy. That's the truth, guys. Nobody can bring those numbers. So you've got to ask yourself, why did look, guys, every time I say this, you know, I'm glad he's out. I'm glad he can spend time with his family, especially his kids. Like, you know, and from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to just go and spend time with his kids. Nobody draws a crowd like Tommy. So from a government point of view, they can't get any more heat. They can't get any more negativity if they kept him in another couple of months. They couldn't. They couldn't get any more negativity if they kept him in another couple of months. But letting him out now, just in time for the Summer of Carnage, you see where I'm going with this, guys? You see how all these parts are fitting in? Oh, Tracy Jane. Oh, hang on. We've got, Right, okay, right, we've got some good stuff here, right. So Tracy Jane, I'm going to pin that, is saying, I think Tommy is working for the government. Okay, which government? Which government do you think Tommy is working for? That is the question, because, you know, anybody who knows what's happening really behind the scenes, guys, they all know who's pulling the strings behind the scenes, guys. Oh, Deborah, the American. Okay, Deborah is saying American government. Okay, Deborah, so who does the American government work for? That's the real question. You know, who's the American government working for? Look, some of you guys are starting to get this in the comments. Some of you guys are starting to get this in the comments and starting to understand the game, starting to understand the game that's being played. The same people who are sponsoring Keir Starmer are the same people who are sponsoring the Summer of Carnage, are the same people who are funding basically funding both sides of this conflict, because they want the United Kingdom broken. They want the United Kingdom absolutely taken down. Oh, and Sam Pham, I believe, is in the United States, is saying, we don't even know who runs the US government in the US. Not the American US. No, the American people don't. Tommy Robinson is back in court on the 5th. They reckon he won't come back out. Linda Lou, I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. It'd be interesting to see what happens. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens when he's back in court. Taking him out to put him back in just riles people up more, doesn't it? It just riles people up more. Remember now, if we're to understand and to believe what Tommy Robinson said, he's got funding now by Elon Musk. So remember what I said previously? Can you remember what I said previously about if you want to fund something, or you want to move money and launder money, a good way of doing it is to make somebody ridiculously rich. And then once you've put them up on that pedestal, you just say, right, donate £1 million to that person. Donate £5 million to that political party. You, as the controlling entity behind the scenes, nobody's looking at you. You're getting your agenda serviced, paid for, and somebody else is taking the rap. So that'd be a good way to do it. Now, you can ask questions on Elon Musk if you want. I mean, that is a rabbit hole. How Elon started his companies, guys, it's a bit of a rabbit hole. He started PayPal. Guys, listen. Go and do a little bit of your own research into how Elon Musk first made his money. It's wild. And then if anybody has ever ran a company, trying to run one company is hard enough, especially if you're innovating. So let's just say, for example, SpaceX, right? Okay, I'll go with it. Let's just go with it, guys, right? Let's just go with this. Let's just say that Elon did make a load of money from PayPal. let's just say he's not got any government sponsorship. Nobody behind the scenes is telling him what to do. Nobody behind the scenes is pushing him and promoting him, giving him contracts where he may and probably shouldn't. Let's just say that he made a ton of money through PayPal, because we know some people do this, and then he decided to invest that in rockets, just off the cuff, off his own cuff. So let's just go down that. The time it takes to innovate, to re-innovate, to reimagine, to deal with staff, to deal with finances, to deal with customers, it's beyond a full-time job, guys. It really is. It's beyond a full-time job. To then open Tesla and do that, to then open the Boring Company and do that, to then open the build Tesla robots, it just doesn't make any sense to me, guys. It does not make any sense to me. Right, let me jump down and get these comments. Listen, I do apologize if I'm... Sharon Owen is saying, Elon's biography is a brilliant insight to read. Sandy123 says, Rothschild, Vanguard rule the world, money and government. Elon is the face of his group. Yeah, I get that. Guys, listen, I get that, like, once you've made enough money, you're literally just a figurehead and everything behind you are branded. But still, like, okay, like, let's just take SpaceX, for example. Like, when he started, oh, hang on. Oh, and Woken Flower on YouTube is saying the Zionists and the deep state are at war. So I don't know what that. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't know. But apparently, with the Zionists and the deep state, are the Zionists and the deep state not the same thing? But I thought they were the same thing. Right, where we're going. Right, let me jump down, guys, and get these comments, because listen, there's so many comments jumping up, guys. There's so many comments jumping up. Daniel Price, watch Catherine Austin Solari report. Oh, Daniel Prince, can you let us Daniel Prince? Daniel, can you let us know what that is? Catherine Austin's Solari report. In fact, let me just do a quick search for this. Catherine. So, like, if I wanted to launch, oh, here we are, guys. Solari report. So, if I wanted to launch, let's just say that I am a private citizen, and I had my own, and I just went to the government and I said, hey guys, listen, I want to launch thousands of satellites to provide Wi-Fi. Like, the space agencies around the world would say, absolutely not. Absolutely not, you lunatic. That's going to be light pollution. It's going to cause space junk. There's going to be all sorts of problems. But Elon, he just gets to do it, and they're all applauding him. Yeah, and you've got to think what else is on these. What else is on these satellites? Oh, hang on. Right. So I've got the I've got the Solari report here. I'm on the website. Right. There's too much information on this website. Right, the money markets, is that what we're talking about? Antibiotics? Right, somebody let me know what we're talking about, the Solari report. Emma Green, Sean, did you hear about the drones and the tension with India and Pakistan again? So let me just do a quick search on this, guys. Because this kind of fell out the news, didn't it? Yeah. You know what? I need to send that to somebody, actually. India and Pakistan drones battle mark new arms race. New Delhi, Islamabad, 27th of May, a little after 8 p.m. on May the 8th, red flares streak through the night sky over the northern Indian city of Jammu as its air defense system opened fire on drones from neighboring Pakistan. The Indian and Pakistani militaries have deployed high-end fighter jets, conventional missiles, and artillery during decades of the clash. But the 4 days of fighting in May marked the first time New Delhi and Islamabad utilized unmanned area vehicles at scale against each other. The whole future of warfare, ladies and gentlemen, is unmanned war. It is drones, guys. You know, you can do things with UAVs you just can't do with piloted aircraft. They're cheaper, they're faster to make. They don't have to have the same degree of safety inside them. So the future of warfare is unmanned. The advances from Ukraine have been absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, and Davey is saying, so we'll talk about that. And do you know what, Davey? This is one of the things I tried. This is what annoys me, right? I tried to pitch this to the UK, to the British government. So the Chinese, they've released, I don't think they have a working prototype yet, but it's basically it's a fixed wing aircraft. As it's flying, it just releases huge swarms of drones out the side. I actually tried to pitch that to the British military in 2017. My idea was just to have a similar system in the back of a C-17, and you would just throw these things out the back of a C-17. So what that would do is you would have the ability then to fly your C-17 and the range of that C-17, and then you would have the surgical capacity of the smaller either quadcopters or fixed-wing UAVs that you can just throw en masse out the back. Nobody was interested. They didn't want to hear about it. I didn't hear anything back. I also had the idea, and another great idea that the Chinese have done as well. They've gone away mainly with aircraft carriers. What they're going with now is drone carriers. So rather than have an aircraft carrier where you've got to have technicians and like all the servicing stuff for an F-35, an F-18, and not an F-22, but you know, with these high-end aircraft, what I said to do is, and I pitched this to the military in again in maybe 2017, 2018. I said, right, rather than spending all these billions on aircraft carriers, for $5 million, I could buy an old trawler, so like an old fishing vessel, like, you know, the big like trawlers, the fishing trawlers. I could renovate that and turn that into a drone aircraft carrier, and inside there I could have engineers and technicians who could just repair, refurbish, fabricate, build drones and launch them from that. Again, they didn't want to hear about it. Now the Chinese are doing it, and again, it's just very strange. Daniel Prince, it's on TikTok. She said in 2022, it explains everything that's happening now. Right, okay. Natalie, have I missed loads? Only just found out you were on. Oh, Natalie, you have missed 57 minutes. Right, guys, I will start. I will talk about what we talked about right at the beginning. So I will be going through this again in a second. But the media right now, and whoever controls the media, guys, controls the narrative. So the media today, ladies and gentlemen, have started in unison to attack Keir Starmer. That's the reality, guys, okay? The media have now started to attack Keir Starmer. Let me just play you this little... So let me just play you this little thing here, right? Was that it? No, that's not it. Is that it? I think no, this is it. Right. So, guys, listen. Let me just stop. Right. I'm gonna play you a short clip now. This is all the questions that the media asked Keir Starmer. I believe this was today. It was absolutely humiliating for Keir Starmer. But and people will be cheering this. People will be saying, "Yeah, the media are sticking it to Keir. Yeah, go on, media." Go on, media. They're gonna stick it to Keir, and but we're showing it to you, Keir. Nothing's gonna change in people's lives. But just ask yourself this question, guys, all right? Just ask yourself this question. Why have all the media just turned against Keir Starmer? Why have they just done that right now, guys? Why have all the media in unison just turned against Keir Starmer? And if you don't think they have, guys, I'm going to play a video for you now. Yeah, it's just the audio, but just listen to the questions that they're asking him.
The problem is that Nigel Farage can approximate talking like a human being, where you just resort to talking points and dodging questions.
The speed of the decline in your popularity is historically unprecedented. Isn't this speech today an admission that you have failed and Nigel Farage understands voters better than you?
And Nigel Farage has 5 MPs, you've got 403. Are you panicking because Reform is so far ahead in the polls, it seems? Is it living rent-free in your brain? You went to a state school, your dad worked in a factory, your mum worked in the NHS. So why has a public school-educated former city trader got more in common with the Red Wall than you have?
Before UK say you're running scared of them, that you're sounding increasingly like them with some of the policies and announcements you've made recently, this is a speech that was very defensive, wasn't it? Are you not worried people will ask why you're holding a press conference about Nigel Farage 4 years out from a general election instead of focusing on your plans for the country?
You went into the election promising to freeze national insurance and keep the two-child benefit cap. You since raised national insurance on businesses and now you're considering axing the cap. Isn't attacking Nigel Farage's economic credibility a bit rich?
So just one thing there, guys, I want to pick up on again. Like, first of all, like the whole media are now attacking Keir Starmer. They are. The whole media are now attacking Keir Starmer. Like you just heard it there. Literally every media outlet are asking quite uncomfortable questions, guys, to be honest. You know, as a fully qualified, polite English gentleman, a lot of those questions were uncomfortable. Why are they doing it now? Why are they all doing it in lockstep? Why are they all doing it at the same time, trying to, you know, attack Keir Starmer? It's to destabilize the country, ladies and gentlemen. It's to destabilize the country. Because can you imagine now? Now we're getting it worked into us. Can you imagine where we're going to be this summer? Can you imagine where we're going to be this summer? All this stuff that's happening right now. All this stuff. And if you want to know how people feel now, if you want to know how people feel now, go and listen to the audio, some of the audio from what happened in Liverpool. How quick and what they were shouting from the crowd. If you want to know how people feel inside, go and look go and listen to what people are shouting on the streets. So imagine this now, guys, amplified, and things are going to get amplified as we move forwards in time. You know, Tommy Robinson marches, the trial of Ricky Jones, the trial of the 2 gentlemen who allegedly had fisticuffs in Manchester Airport because they pleaded not guilty. And then you've got the media as punctuation to this. The media now with an active onslaught to Keir Starmer. So the media attacking Keir Starmer. So nobody will have faith in the government because, you know, the media are starting to make a mockery of Keir Starmer. Like, what are people going to do? People won't have any. They're like, when the government loses credibility, and they know, and this is what I'm talking about. This is how desperate things are going to be this summer, guys. You know, and the summer of carnage. Like, I don't think there's any way out of it now, guys. And I do think it's going to be worse than I actually thought. Let me jump up and get some comments, guys. Listen, I've got the chat open, and there's loads of comments. Hang on, I'm just going to get a couple from YouTube, guys. Woken Flower says Starmer knew. Hang on, let me make that big because this will be on YouTube. Starmer knew them questions were coming today because he knew what the media was going to. Nigel is controlled opposition. Yeah, like, guys, is it me or does anybody else think that? Look, I've met Nigel Farage. I've met him, you know, only briefly. I'm not, you know, we're not best buddies. We're not best buddies or anything. I've met him briefly. I had a quick conversation with him. My initial thoughts on Nigel were he's a genuine guy, and I'll stand by that, and I believe that. He's a genuine guy. very intelligent, a very intelligent guy. He knows his stuff, but, well, no buts actually. I remember what I say about, but I've got like, when I met Nigel, I was very impressed with him as a person. A few things I've said about him are, I don't feel he's a war leader. I don't feel he is a war leader. I don't feel he could make those difficult decisions where he would make a decision and he knew lots of people were not coming back. But who's pulling the purse strings? Because it doesn't matter how charismatic your leader is. It doesn't matter how charismatic your top team are and how competent they are. Like, it doesn't matter how competent a workman is. If he's got no tools and no materials, like, what can he do, or she? You know, what can they actually do? So, you know, my real question about this whole rise of reform, who's pulling the purse strings behind the scenes? And I don't know. I don't know. Claire over on YouTube is saying the government will throw Keir Starmer under the bus as they know they have lost so many votes, especially the elderly and disabled. And 3.5 Men over on YouTube as well is saying, good evening, what have I missed? Oh, you have missed so much. So much. We've been on for 1 hour and 5 minutes, but do not worry, because this live stream will be uploaded to YouTube's. Right, let me get some of these comments. Right, guys, listen, again, when I've got the chat open like this, it's very difficult to get all the comments. So I really do apologize, guys. I really do apologize if I miss anyone's comments. I really don't mean to. Snowdrops is saying reform are now mostly ex-conservatives. Well, we don't have a conservative party. We don't like, there's no distinction now between political parties. There used to be a left and a right. I think America is a perfect example of this right now. There used to be a left and a right, and like the liberals, the Democrats would be all for free speech, and they would be anti-war, and they would be, and they would be all for equality and stuff. But now in America, it seems like the liberals they don't really like free speech, and they're well up for a war. And that was what it would seem like. But when Trump got in, he was saying he was all for free speech and he was all for peace. But like with the peace metric, because, you can measure this. You can literally measure this. Go and look what the world was like in October 2024. Literally, go and look what the world. Go and look what the world was like in October 2024, and look what the world's like now. What are we? The end of May 2025. Like the two major conflicts, Ukraine and Gaza, the Middle East. To me, my perception is those conflicts are worse than ever, guys. Those conflicts are worse than ever right now. So where's the change been? Where's this change? When's things stopped? And we have this false hope. We have this false hope with these elections. Thinking, oh, in 2029 we're going to vote for Rajan and everything's going to be awesome and it's going to be brilliant but I've just lost hope. I've just lost all hope, guys, of anything actually changing and being good. Right, Lewis Ackers. Lewis Ackers is saying, love it watching you on both platforms. So Lewis Ackers is watching on both platforms, but the other one is slightly slower. Yeah, I don't know if the other one's running through a filter or something. I don't know, but this live stream, guys, it will be uploaded. Sean, in your opinion, what exactly should we expect to happen in this summer? Oh, fantastic question. I think I should do more about this. So this summer, I'm predicting mass. Okay. So, direct answer to your question, I'm predicting mass protests that are going to turn into ugly riots in the United Kingdom on a scale that we've never seen before. Now, that's my opinion, guys. All right. Now, the data that I'm using to give you this, the data I'm giving you guys to take from this is understanding ideological subversion. I don't want to go into it, guys, because I know it bores a lot of people, but you've got demoralization, destabilization, you've got crisis and normalization. You can have maybe a few more and those get broken down into other parts, but basically, the United Kingdom, we've already been demoralized as a country. We are demoralized. You go walk on the streets and ask people, anyone, if they're proud to be British. Yes, you will get a good number of people who say yes, but also you will get an unbelievable number of people who don't speak English, don't want to be British, don't class themselves as British, or are embarrassed to be British. And that's the truth, guys. That's the reality. There's lots of these studies being done. So we know that the United Kingdom is already demoralized. So the next stage would be to destabilize the country. And right now, we are being destabilized. I used to think I knew who was pulling the strings behind the strings, guys, but let's just say I'm not convinced that the moon landing ever happened now. Let's just say that. I'm not convinced the moon landing never actually happened. So we're being destabilized. And a perfect marker of this, guys, is the mainstream media in unison attacking Keir Starmer, asking him very difficult questions openly online. Very difficult questions that are difficult to answer. That's going to put pressure on him. That's going to, decredit him. It's going to destabilize the government, and it may even dethrone him. But all this is coming at a time where we've got massive social tensions and social divisions in our country. And leading forward, and again, this is why I always say it's going to happen in the summertime, because you don't get the critical mass. Look what happened in Liverpool the other day. You had a critical mass of people. You had lots of people on the streets all at once. Lots of people. You had that critical mass. This summer, it's going to be a lot easier to achieve that critical mass. Kids are going to be off school. People are going to be off work. Social dynamics, internal pressures, family tensions are going to be growing. Family tensions always grow when people struggling financially. Family tensions also always grow at that time. If there's a little bit of family tension, stick everybody together, take away any money, and it's going to get a lot worse. And this is all stuff that's going to happen this summer. So some of the things I think we're going to see this summer. We are going to see the first, we are going to see this summer, we will see riots so bad that the police totally lose control and evacuate. And that is going to be absolutely disgraceful. Now, once that happens, that then empowers people who are rioting in other locations. That empowers them. Once they see that if enough critical mass is reached, the police can't do anything, and they can't, that empowers people more. So these things spread exponentially. Now, something I saw a video on X, and it was like 3 female police officers trying to knock down a door. And I was just watching it. I was thinking, wow, is this where we are now? Is this where we are now in the United Kingdom? I also saw another video of there's a gentleman in the car and he's filming, and there's like police with the armed police, and they're out, and like the way that they to get him out of the car, it's embarrassing, guys. If that, again, I've got a lot of respect for the armed police. I don't know what the scenario was or whatever happened, but I was just looking at that and thinking, wow, do you know what? When I was getting people out of cars, they were out within 30 seconds and they listened to what I said. They had no choice, because I was, there's different ways to take people out of the cars. And I just know that person in that car who was filming, I would have had him out of that car within 30 seconds. 30 seconds, he would be out of that car, and I would have made that arrest within 30 seconds. But, it just shows, again, this is policing. I know things are slightly different. Right, I am jumping down, guys. There's a ton of questions as always, a ton of comments. I'm jumping down to the bottom, so I do apologise if I'm missing anyone's. 3.5 men on YouTube is saying, get the popcorn out and the Dolby speakers on. I'm staying indoors all summer. Yeah, it's going to be a wild one, guys. It's going to be a wild one this summer. You can literally, and then Claire's just put some popcorn. Yeah, you can see it coming, guys, can't you? Like, what happened in Liverpool was a little taste of what's happening. Can you imagine when there's like more of these Tommy Robinson marches, pro-Palestine marches, Ricky Jones marches, the two fisticuff guys in Manchester Airport marches? Can you imagine the public feeling? Can you imagine the public feeling, right, when, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, I'm saying if this happens, can you imagine the public sentiment if, and it's an if, guys, we don't know what's going to happen, if those two gentlemen who had fisticuffs in allegedly had fisticuffs in Manchester Airport, can you imagine the public mood if those two gentlemen never see the inside of a prison cell? And then Lucy Conley, who wrote something online, is spending 2 years and 7 months in jail. Like, can you guys conceptualize the public opinion if that happens? It's unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Right, sorry, guys, I've jumped out. Tommy's next March is September. If we get to September, is it right? I thought it was before. I thought it would have had something before. Let me just do a quick Google. Oh, hang on. So there's a march against Tommy. Oh, right. Okay. So listen, this is from a news outlet called Socialist Worker. So do you know what they've got, right? So listen, guys, this is very distasteful, right? So I've just gone to a website now. I can't share it. Can I? No, it's on the other. I can't share it. It's on the other computer. So I've just gone to a website now called the Socialist Worker, and it says anti-racism march against Tommy Robinson's fascist movement. After being released from prison, Robinson is looking to revive a fascist street movement to remain relevant amid Reform UK's rise. And the first picture they've got on there, right, is a picture of a load of people waving Union flags, American flags, St. George's crosses, and right at the front, there's a guy in a black T-shirt, and the black T-shirt says "Justice for Peter Lynch." Just seems distasteful, guys. Just seems very distasteful. Yeah, so Tommy Robinson called his supporters to march in London on the 13th of September. Okay, I thought it was going to be a lot sooner than that. But look, nobody can raise a crowd like Tommy. Nobody raises a crowd like Tommy. I mean, he could literally say, right, everyone, London this weekend, and like he would have hundreds of thousands going down. Yeah, that website doesn't. That website, I feel guilty just looking at it. I think I need a wash. Right, let me get the comments, guys. Let me get the comments. Sean, can you send me that website over, please? Emma Green, yeah, Emma Green. So if you send me an inbox message and just remind me, because I'll probably forget. So if you just send me an inbox message, and as soon as this live stream's finished, I'll send that over to you. What else have we got? John Twistle is saying, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. John, I think you're late to the party. We've been on like an hour and 18. But don't worry, do not worry, because we are double streaming, and this will also be uploaded to YouTube. If you've missed it, if you want to watch a little bit before, if you want to, I don't know, have some snippets on, I don't know. Sharon is saying, we had our supermarket shut down. 4 people fight it. Whoa. Sharon, did that make the news? Sharon, did that make the news? So Sharon is saying, in her supermarket there was a fight, and one person in that fight transcended into a beam of light. I mean, what were they fighting over? What were they fighting over? Look, guys, like, where was I? Where was I today? I was, I can't remember where I was somewhere. I think I was, where was I? I can't remember where I was, but I heard some people talking. I heard some people talking about shoplifting. Now, and again, we're talking about supermarkets. I heard some people talking about shoplifting. Well, I can't remember where I was literally, where was I today? Where have I been today? It doesn't matter. I was somewhere, and I was in Aldi on the way back from work. So I'm in Aldi. I'm stood there, and like the people in front of me in the queue are talking about seeing people shoplifting. Now, those of you guys who've been following the channel, you know I've witnessed a lot of shoplifting, especially from Greggs. There's a lot of it on Greggs where people go in and they just take what they want and walk out. They don't even bother covering their faces now. And what I'm getting at here, guys, and like at some point, you will, like, at some point, normal, well, I would say it's happening already, but at some point, people are just going to think, right, I'm standing here, I'm queuing up, I'm in a rush, I'm stressed, I'm paying overpriced for this bottle of water and this sandwich because I can't be bought because I haven't got time to walk to the other store and come back. And people are just walking in and taking it for free. First of all, they're being really efficient because they're saving time, but that people are going to just, normal, everyday people who would normally pay for that stuff are just going to think, why should I bother? Literally, why should I bother? But the cascading effect that this has is huge because those supermarkets then have to put their prices up to cover that, to cover that cost. And then that affects everyone else. So everyone else's prices go up, which drives more people into doing it, which drives the prices up even more. Guys, look, it just seems absolutely insane. I just don't know where we're heading in this country anymore, guys. John Anderson over on YouTube is talking about how the unfair benefits goes. Look, so with this benefit system that we've got in the UK at the moment, it looks like they're going to be lifting the 2-child cap. Now, as I understand this, the 2-child cap, you only get paid like money for your first 2 children. So again, like, what type of person has children that they can't afford? What type? Because I know they're out there. I know that there are people, trust me guys, I live in Rotherham, there are people out there who will have children just to get some extra money. There are. And you know what, guys? Those are not the type of people, in my opinion, those are not the type of people, in my opinion, who should be having kids. The type of people who should be promoted to have children are the people who, pay their taxes, go to work, follow the laws, and are contributing members of society. They're the people who will raise good children. The people who are just having children because they get an extra bit of money, it's like, I don't know, guys. It just seems to, it just seems like more degradation of the United Kingdom. Hang on, let me take that off. Right, I'm just jumping down, guys, and getting these comments. Tina Elliott, once these riots start, Sean, when do you think they will end and how? I can tell you exactly when they'll end. They will end when people have to go back to work. That's when they'll end. They will end or end when people go back to work. But that sentiment that's been lit and infused, it's just going to continue. Because remember what we was talking about yesterday with what did we say? Was it yesterday? I remember the day before. We was talking about the bullseye of crackers. So like for every 100 people you get, you will get maybe one person of that 100 people who will go absolutely crackers, at a protest that you've got one person, maybe I don't know what the actual statistics are, but it's similar to this. Of 100 people, you might get one person, might be 1 in 1,000, it doesn't matter. But just let's keep it simple. So for every 100 people, you might get one person who is going to go absolutely crackers. They're not bothered about their own safety. They're like a rabid dog. They're just wild. of that same 100 people, you've got one person that's going to go crackers. You might have 4 or 5 people who will go biscuits. So it's not quite as crackers, but it's still pretty intense. And then you might have 10 people who go bananas, which is a little bit less. And then you might have 20 people who, if everybody else is doing it, they're going to join in as well. And they're going to go Monster Munch. So what I'm getting at here, that 1% who goes crackers, once you reach a critical mass of those people all together, that's when things start happening. And when people have to go back to work, that's when it will die down because people have got bills to pay. That is literally how the system works, guys. But I don't think this time, I don't think it's going to, I think that will then descend. I think the Summer of Carnage will descend to the winter of, I like the winter of, I don't know what, I've not decided yet, but that will descend then into a winter of street violence. So then you'll have limited clashes then between street gangs. I've already seen it in a few towns I've walked past. You've got gangs of youths on the streets, now separated on racial lines, and that's happening. So that's where I think it's gonna descend into. So it's not gonna stop, it's just gonna change forms. John Thistlethwaite, sorry, I always say Twin Twistle. John Thistlethwaite is saying, could not agree more. Children learn from their parents if their parents are good citizens. Yeah, if we're raising good children, they'll be good people. I do see, there's always exceptions to the rule. Hang on, right, guys. I'm just going to jump down again. I do apologise if I'm missing anyone's comments. Tap water, guys. Do not make the ending hard. Wendy, tap water, do not make the ending hard. I don't know, but I would always say, guys, look, get yourself some bottled water, enough for 3 days. Everybody get yourselves enough for 3 days. MRL 420 is saying the winter of mayhem. I don't know yet. I don't know what it's going to be like. It might be like the winter of, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll have to figure it out. We've got Summer of Carnage. What's the winter going to be? The winter of something. Deborah Phillips is saying Ireland is getting wild. It is getting wild. Listen, I can remember when I was in the military having to deal with, well, not personally having to deal with him, but Jerry Adams was the leader of Sergeant Gunnery. I think Sergeant Gunnery may have a winner here. The Winter of Doom. The Winter of Doom. That may be the one. That may be the winner, Sergeant Gunnery. Sergeant Gunnery may have got that. I'm going to pin that. But it may be, we may have the winter. Do you know what? Guys, if anyone can beat the Winter of Doom, speak now or forever hold your peace. So if anybody can beat the Winter of Doom, speak now or forever hold your peace. Sorry, hang on, guys. You were all too busy with bread or circuses. Yeah, okay, Wendy, okay. I love you, Wendy. Wendy, you are fantastic, Wendy. Wendy's fantastic. I'm sure she's trendy. I got a lot of love for you, Wendy. I've got a lot of love for you, Wendy. I hope you're well. I hope you're well. Wendy, I hope you've got at least 3 liters of water per person per day stocked in your house somewhere. I really do. James is going to be hiding under the kitchen table if it all kicks off this summer. What about the autumn? Well, I think that's saying, what's the autumn going to be? I think in the autumn, so like September time is when people go back to, September is when people start going back to work. So you've kind of got you're still going to have the outliers from the Summer of Carnage, but that's where I think it's going to go, guys, right? You heard it here first. The Summer of Carnage is going to turn into the Winter of Doom, potentially the Winter of Doom. We're not set on it yet, whereby these riots, protests, civil divisions, they're going to turn into street skirmishes at a local level then. Right, Wendy, you're just right. Okay, I'm not speaking Wendy. MRL 420 says, I live near natural spring water, has been coming out for years and years before I was born, it still flows. Yeah, guys, listen, if you live near a natural water source, that is fantastic. Two unexplained people have transcended to a beam of light in Scarborough. My kids like me, I think. Yeah, Debbie, hang on. Debbie, you know what? I've got a friend. I wanted him here today, sat like in one of those chairs behind me, and we was going to do this together, but his patella, he dislocated his patella and he can't walk. Anyway, so I was talking to him the other day, and saying, if you guys read and if you guys are watching on YouTube, Debbie's saying my kids laugh at me for my views on things. Now, I was talking to my friend the other day. Now he always, you know, whatever I say, he always gives an alternate opinion. He always says, "Yeah, Sean, you're wrong because of this." Like always. I was talking to him the other night, and he was saying to me, "You know what, mate? I can't even disagree with you anymore because you've been right about everything." I said, "I know, dude. I'm not like, you know, I'm not making this stuff up. But the things I was telling him like a year ago, he's seeing them now. He's seeing the things I was telling him a year ago. And a year ago, he was like, 'Shut up, Sean. Oh, shut up, Sean.' But now he's seeing them for himself. This is why I want him sat at the back there. I want him sat at the back giving commentary and stuff. So I want us both, I want to do like a joint, hang on. Yeah, so I want to do like a joint live stream with him sat behind me, or maybe, and then when it gets later on at night, we can turn the TikTok one off and go onto the YouTube and have carbonated beverages. Man missing after falling off a boat in a reservoir, says Emma Green. Are we talking about the one in Scarborough? Coral Reefing, I still think Iran will make the first move this year before the US. They know what's coming, right? Yeah, so look, guys, it's been written in US legislation. Let me just get this up real quickly. I know I refer back to this quite a lot, but I just want to repeat it again. So for those people who, anybody who's missed this, all these things are out there. All this information. Oh, well, that's not the site. Where am I? Is that it? Right, hang on. I've gone on the. That's not it. Ah, here it is. So no, that's not it. It might have been taken down. Hang on. Right at the top. Of course, it's going to be at the top. So when we talk about Iran and nuclear and all this sort of stuff, you know, this is what I always refer back to, and this is why I've been saying that I feel boots on the ground in Iran this is what I'm basing it on, is going to be March 2026. Right, the internet's not working now for some reason, or maybe I've been hacked. I don't know. Right, we're just getting a swirling circle. So I'm going to try and do this again. No, we've just got the swirling circle. Right, so what I'm talking about here, guys, is something that was passed. Oh, here we are. So something that was passed in the United States in November 2023. So if anybody wants to know what's happening with Iran and the United States, and why I keep saying that this is going to happen, I'm just going to read this from the US Congress website, all right? So it's a very official source. House Resolution 559. declaring it is the policy of the United States that a nuclear Islamic Republic of Iran is not acceptable. I continue. And this is what was passed in November 2023. This resolution declares that it is the policy of the United States to use all means necessary. So that kind of doesn't take it like, it's like all means necessary, like a Christopher Nolan film. The United States takes all means necessary to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon and to support the freedom of action of partners and allies to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it there. That, to me, anyway, is a declaration that the United... Well, I'll read it again. This resolution declares there's a policy of the United States to use all means necessary to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Now, what do we think that means, guys? What do we think that means? Do we think that means we're just going to use diplomacy? We're just going to use sanctions? Or do you think it means what it actually says? All means necessary. And all means necessary, of course, would include military. And where it says to support the freedom of action of partners and allies, they're talking about Israel. And anybody else who may or may not want to get involved in that conflict. So there you have it, guys. There you have it. Right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, hang on. Oh, Sarah May Gen X. Don't know if I've missed it. What's happening with Russia and Germany? Well, Germany have just had their first permanent overseas, their first Emma Green, can you give me more on that? Emma Green, can you give me more on that? Sean, it's just been reported drought warnings over immigration. I don't know what that means, drought warnings over immigration. In 10 years. Oh, we are going to be out of drinking water in 10 years. It's on GB News right now. Guys, look, how many times have I said this? How many times have I said this? I always say things, comes out later, what I'm saying in maybe a year's time or time ahead. Like, can you guys remember when I was giving videos, I was doing videos on I do it all the time, guys. The water supply in the United Kingdom is ridiculously vulnerable. There's not enough investment. As more people are coming to the United Kingdom, I've said this so many times, as more people are coming to the United Kingdom, whether you agree with it or not, nobody talks about this, do they? Nobody talks. We're all like, oh, they're on benefits. They're on this much money. Do you know what, guys? We can print more money. Keir Starmer can tell Rachel to get on her magic machine and print more money. Modern monetary theory. Just keep printing more. Not very good if you're a saver. So modern monetary theory, you can just keep printing more. Do you know what you can't do? Do you know what you can't do? You can't print more water. So more people coming to the United Kingdom, taking baths, taking showers, drinking, flushing the toilet, cooking, washing, all that sort of stuff, guys. It uses water. And nobody seems to be talking about it because it's not a big flashy headline. But trust me, guys, you know when we're all thirsty, we're all like scratching the earth for water, that will become a big headline. DAP is saying water isn't fit to drink. Listen, guys, I would always recommend everybody should be getting, everybody should have water, water as a standby, enough for 3 days, working at 3 liters of water per person per day. Snowdrops, same with electric, won't sustain these people, hospitals. Yeah, again, like with the electric, if the electric goes off, how do I put this? If you don't have water for 3 days, you're going to transcend into a beam of light. And after 1 day, you're going to be in absolute bits. If the electricity goes off, yeah, yeah, what it is with the electricity is off. You know, obviously, if you're in a hospital, if you're on a life support machine, if you have an electric car, yeah, these are all bad. Guys, listen, who thinks electric cars are a scam? Is it just me, or are electric cars a scam? Like, it's just unbelievable to me with these electric cars, how much money and how they've been pushed. When if you look at an electric car, you look at it, you're like, it's actually a scam. There's nothing there. What am I actually buying here? Because those batteries will degrade over time, and then you can't do anything with them. And the battery is the main thing. So, I like my earliest videos. Hydrogen is going to be the fuel of the future, guys. Hydrogen is going to be. Oh, and David is saying 100% rip-off, mate. I'm assuming you've got. I'm assuming you've got an electric. I can only assume you've got an electric car. Right, and then over on YouTube, Walcom Flower is saying. Hang on. Walcom Flower is saying electric cars are designed for lockdown cities. Yeah, like you can turn off an electric car, can't you? You can turn off an electric car for, you know, if it's like connected to the internet or whatever, you can just say, you're not allowed in here. You can't do that with an internal combustion engine. Emma Green is saying, did you hear about the... No, I didn't. Hang on. Right, guys, listen. I am going to have to close this live down now. I've just literally looked at the time, and it is it past my bedtime? It's 6 minutes to my bedtime. Listen, guys, I'm going to go now. I'll be back on tomorrow. I'll be back on tomorrow morning with a subscribers live. So if you guys want to have a less, a less all directions chat, this video will also upload onto YouTube. So if you've not done so already, guys, and you want to go over there and show your support, like I said, this video will be uploaded to YouTube. Might take an hour. I don't actually know how long it takes. It might be on straight away. It might not. But the video will upload once it's processed through the YouTube algorithm, and it will be on. But anyway, guys, I will see you all in the morning. So TikTok is off. Yeah, bedtime. Right, okay. John Anderson, compared to how NATO did in the Middle East wars in the past. Hang on, I'll just answer this quickly on YouTube. What are your thoughts on methods that Israel are using and what they... Oh, right, okay. Do you know what? I'm probably going to stay a little bit longer, actually. So, right, okay. So, I can actually speak openly on this one. So, in the war on terror, the invasion of Iraq, the war against Saddam, the war on terror, Iraq and Afghanistan. First of all, this is why the UK and this is why the UK and America are diverting, because the UK is going to be involved in the conflict in Ukraine. So they're going to be pushing in Ukraine. The Americans are going to be in the Middle East. There's nothing else. There's nothing that a coalition, if the United States went into Iran, there's absolutely nothing a coalition could help. There's nothing they could bring to the party. The only country in the world who has the capacity to invade Iran is America. They have all the ships, they have all the aircraft, they have that capacity to do that. A coalition wouldn't really help it, it would just slow things down because there'd be a difference in command and control. So the operations what the question was, how is the differences between how how Israel is dealing with Gaza and in comparison to how the coalition dealt with the situation in the Middle East. So, situation in the Middle East, they were very hearts and mind, and they were very there was a lot of dynamic tactics in the Middle East, whereby rather than blowing stuff up, you would take a house intact. Now, the problem with that is as you're moving forwards, you leave a front line, and once those buildings are clear, people can get in those buildings behind you. Now, There's actually been new papers written. If I was on the other one, I might be able to share it. There's actually been new papers written. You can search for this yourself. I think it's called like operating in a rubberized one. Let me just Google it real quick, and then I will get you the what is actually called the paper. I think it's called something like operating in a rubberized zone. Yeah, here it is. So this is from July. Tactical lessons from Israel forces in Gaza in 2003. Yeah. So there's new work being done on operating in a rubberized zone. So what the IDF are doing is to stop perceived bad guys getting behind their front line that they're clearing. They're just bringing down the buildings and absolutely destroying everything. It's brutal. There's a lot of collateral, but it's very effective. And that's why they're doing it. The coalition didn't do this in Iraq because they didn't. So that's why they're doing it. They're the differences. Now, on one side, on the coalition side, you will eventually win hearts and minds. But the coalition didn't stay in Iraq long enough. The coalition didn't stay in Afghanistan long enough to win hearts and minds. You need to stay in there for a minimum of 40 years, 40 years. That would give time for those kids who have grown up with you, time for them to get to 40, and they've only ever known you guys in charge, and they've only ever known your way. So that's the only way you do it. So you have to be in there for 40 years. The other way that the Israelis are doing, they are just like steamrolling through everything. And I don't think they're going for hearts and minds. They're just pushing these guys out. So, time will tell. I hope that answered your question. 3.5 men. 3.5 men. Russia's ally Serbia has been selling weapons to Ukraine, has been reported. Big betrayal. I don't think it is a betrayal. Private companies are allowed to sell weapons like anything to whoever they want. If their government is putting sanctions on them or whatever, they always find a way. They always find a way. So, for example, Serbia is not allowed to sell weapons to Ukraine. Okay, fine. Can Serbia sell weapons to, I don't know, UK? Yes, of course. Okay, so Serbia sells weapons to the UK, to a shell company in the UK. The UK then sells those weapons to Ukraine. The weapons never leave Serbia. They only leave Serbia to go to Ukraine. They never go to the UK. They don't get shipped to the UK, then shipped to Ukraine. It's just a paperwork exercise. So these companies, they always find a way. It's very difficult to stop people selling things. And, ultimately, I personally think that you should be able to sell to whoever you want. That is just, that is literally just the nature of the beast. Right. Anyway, guys, I am going to go now. I'm going to close this down, and the YouTube family got a little bit more. I am going to close this down now. I'll see you guys later.